What is going on YouTube? I am Lamont at large. Today we are in Central Islip on Long Island. I'm going to show you the location where on April 11th, 2017, 4 individuals were brutally murdered. They were hacked to death with machetes and knives, beaten, stabbed, hacked to death. And they were all led to their deaths by one little devil, 17-year-old Lenise Escobar. Let's go. That is the Central Islip Recreation Center, and this is the park across the street right here. This tale is going to start with 2 morons. At the time, 17-year-old Lenise Escobar and her stupid 15-year-old friend, Kylie Gomez. So these morons, they're associates of the Long Island gang MS13. Of course, MS13, their origins start in Los Angeles, California. I might be doing a video about that in the near future. So these 2 dingbats, they really think that these guys are cool, right? Because they look up to these guys because they like the bad boys, they like the thugs, they like the killers, the gangbangers, so forth and so on. So on April 11th, 2017, Lenise, who they refer to as El Diablita or La Diablita, which means little devil, tells her stupid friend Kylie Gomez if she wants to set up some guys that the gang did not like to bring them out here to be murdered. And stupid Kylie's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that sounds like a good time. So on that evening, April 11th, 2017, 5 individuals were brought here to be murdered. It was 16-year-old Justin Ivacura, 20-year-old Michael Lopez Banega. You had 18-year-old Jorge Tigre and 18-year-old Jefferson Villalobos. I apologize to anybody if I mispronounced the names. And there was also a 5th member, Elmer Ruiz. So these girls, they tell these guys, hey, you want to go to the park to smoke some weed? And the guys are like, yeah, they're kind of cute. Let's go smoke some weed with them. Little did they know that they had been marked for death by the MS13 gang here on Long Island. And the reason why is this. So a couple of those kids whose names I mentioned on their social media post had posted throwing up MS13's gang sign. Now, MS13 took that as a sign of disrespect. And they also accused these guys of not only disrespecting the gang by throwing up that sign, they also accused them of being members of their rivals, 18th Street. That is a war that has been going on for 25 years. I was actually at Hollywood High School that day back in like 94 or 95 when the war started, when a couple of MS13 guys pulled out on a bus stop on Sunset Boulevard in Highland and shot and killed a guy from 18th Street. I didn't see the murder. I had went the other way up to Hollywood Boulevard to catch the bus, but I heard about it, of course, the following, that evening on the news. So these guys, they come out here thinking that they're going to get high and just chill out and whatever. So when the 5 kids get to this wooded area right here where I'm showing you right now, all of a sudden they get surrounded by at least 9 members of MS13. They were all wearing sweaters over their heads, trying to disguise themselves. Now, immediately, the leader of this mob says, get down on your knees. Anybody moves, you'll die. Now, Elmer Ruiz, he took off like a bat out of hell. Pew! He hopped that fence and he was gone. He just took off. He ran for his life. Unfortunately, the other 4 did not take heed. And as soon as he ran off, immediately the members of MS13 started surrounding the 4 individuals and immediately started stabbing, cutting, hacking, stomping, beating these 4 poor souls to death. They left an absolute bloody mess at the scene. After they were done killing them, they dragged their bodies a little bit deeper into these woods right here and stacked them on top of each other. And then they just, they said, okay, guys, good job. Good job, guys, let's go. Now, of course, the one that got away, you would think he would have called the police, right? And no, he went home and went to sleep. And then he soon realized the next day when he was calling his friends and nobody was answering the messages, nobody was answering the phones, that he knew something was wrong. And then later on the following day, on April 12th, 2017, somebody discovered the 4 bodies here at this very park where I'm currently walking in right now. So immediately the gang unit comes on the scene in homicide detectives, and they start processing the crime scene. And then people start talking. They get a hold of Elmer, and he basically explains the story of what happened. He implicates Lenise and Kylie, the 2 dingbats who led these boys to their horrific murders. Now, this is the area where they were surrounded and killed. It's fenced off, and the only sign that you can tell that this horrible tragedy occurred is this little memorial for one of the victims. I believe that would be Michael Lopez Venegas right there. And you can see some scumbag, of course, probably somebody disrespected his picture by drawing something on his face. God, what a bunch of scumbags. Wow. So after the homicide detectives' investigations, when they started getting names of the people that were associated with this murder, they picked up Kylie Gomez and Lenise Escobar and charged them with those kids' murders. Now, she remains the last one to be sentenced. There's not a whole lot of information on the names of the others involved in this murder. There's a couple names thrown in some news articles, but not all of their names. Some of them were undocumented immigrants from El Salvador. They were mostly all teenagers. Maybe one of them was over the age of 18. And they all received sentences pretty much ranging from 50 years to life in prison. The ones that were here illegally, after their sentences are completed, by then they'll be in their 60s and their 70s. They'll be deported back to El Salvador. So La Diablita, Little Devil, the sick woman that she is, was heard on a telephone recording, basically implicating herself in this crime, saying that she was in trouble, quote unquote, because one of the guys got away. But she basically said, oh, 4 guys took the train, but they're not going to be coming back. And her boyfriend, who one article says that he was a high-ranking member of MS13, I'm not really sure. He testifies, of course, against his former girlfriend, and he tells the court during his testimony that she said that the murders of those 4 kids made her happy, and that when they were murdering them, one of the guys that was trying to get away was reaching out for her, like for help or something like that, and that blood from maybe a stab wound or something sprayed her sweatshirt and sprayed her in the face, and that she, quote, licked her lips with that kid's blood on them. There's been other hearsayings that she was heavily involved with the gang, that she actually liked this type of nonsense. And the boyfriend stated that, yeah, she was totally proud that these murders took place. She was proud of her involvement in this crime. And for that, currently, she is going to be facing a life in prison. 15-year-old Nisa Mickens and 16-year-old Kayla Cuevas were best of friends. They both shared a love of basketball. They both went to Brentwood High School here on Long Island. And on September 14th of 2016, the girls were walking in this very neighborhood when they were surrounded by 5 members of MS-13. They were beaten and hacked to death with machetes. Nisa's body was found just up the street right here, and Kayla Cuevas, her body was found about a couple hundred yards away behind a home somewhere in this neighborhood. Now online it says that her body was found right outside of Loretta Park Elementary School. They were killed because Kayla Cuevas had some kind of an online beef with a member from MS-13. I don't know the extent of it. All it says is there was some back and forth going on between Kayla and them. Misa, who was best friends, like I said, with Kayla, was at the wrong place at the wrong time, so to speak. Evelyn Rodriguez, who is the mother of Kayla, some of you might have remembered seeing her in the news. She was very vocal about her daughter's murder and against starting some kind of an anti-gang crime bill. She was invited by then President Donald Trump to a State of the Union speech that he was given back in, I believe, 2017. So 2 years later, on September 14th, 2018, the second anniversary of her daughter's horrible murder, right on this street right here, they had some kind of a memorial set up. One of the neighbors in this neighborhood, a woman by the name of Anne Marie Drago, apparently she didn't like that the memorial was on the same street where I believe her or her mother's home was being sold. She was in the process of selling a house, and she didn't want prospective buyers to see a memorial for a slain girl. Possibly she felt that people wouldn't want to buy the house or it would scare off buyers. So she proceeds to go to the memorial and start taking it down, taking down the white cross, taking down the candles, the flowers, and all that stuff. As the news crew is here filming everything, she's doing this. And Evelyn and Anne Marie start getting into a shouting match. And Anne Marie gets into her car, and according from what I've read online, Evelyn got in front of her car and was like hammering on the car because she was angry. She was angry that she took down her daughter's memorial. Mind you, this is the second anniversary. Your daughter was butchered to death. And according to transcripts of the video, Evelyn's boyfriend, Freddie Cuevas, who's the father of Kayla, tells Anne Marie, if you run her over, you're going to kill her. She hit the gas. She runs right over Evelyn. Right on camera, right in front of the camera. 911 is called. The paramedics come out. Evelyn is taken to a local hospital in the area where she's pronounced dead. I'm not exactly sure which house that the woman or her mother owned that she was trying to sell. I want to say it's that gray one right over there, but it wouldn't even matter anyways because she no longer or her mother lived there. Now, this was where the memorial was. As you can see, back then the sidewalk was painted, and as you can see that lip right there, you can see that the cross would have been set up right here. So I believe this is where one of the girls' bodies was found. It could have even been Kayla. I might have gotten mixed up or confused. But one of their bodies was found here, and the other was found a couple hundred yards right in the back of one of these homes. A mother and a daughter, both killed on the same day, 2 years apart. That is terrible. And what's even more terrible than a daughter being brutally butchered to death, and a similar fate being taken upon Evelyn Rodriguez, this woman, Anne-Marie Drago, who was a nurse, who was, I believe her job was to help people, not kill them. She was eventually arrested for negligent homicide, criminal negligent homicide, petty larceny, and criminal mischief. She was facing 4 years in prison. She ends up getting a 9-month prison sentence, and I believe that her attorney was able to secure her release on bond for an appeal. I don't know exactly how long she did in prison, but a judge overturned her conviction based off of prosecutorial mishandling of the case. Now, the family has been very vocal about a possible retrial, and I hope there will be one. But for right now, Anne-Marie Drago lives somewhere on Long Island, I'm assuming, ran over that poor woman, and yeah, she was mad, and yeah, she was angry, and that woman might have been scared. But you don't run somebody over killing them. Two very tragic stories with several horrible endings, all at the hands of MS-13. This is their grave. This is Kayla Cuevas and her mother, Evelyn Rodriguez's grave. As you can see, the same death date, just 2 years apart. I would definitely put this as one of the sadder stories I've ever done. Murdered by a pack of thugs. Have your daughter be brutally slain, and then you lose your life over a narcissistic witch and killer. If that Drago woman is watching, this is your handiwork. Yeah, I can understand I can understand you were upset about the memorial, but you also have to understand she was upset about having her daughter murdered. And instead of just staying in your car and calling the police, you chose to ran over and you killed her, and you have not faced any kind of justice. Kayla's killers, they've faced their justice. But you, no. And then you have the nerve in court to say that you give condolences to the family. You weren't sorry for her loss. You just wanted that memorial out of the neighborhood because you wanted to sell your house, because you're a greedy witch. And I can understand on your side of things that, you know, it's been 2 years and it's like, it's time to move on. It's time to take down the memorial. You got a house to sell. I understand that. I understand both sides of things. But I don't understand you running her over and killing her. You're definitely not a murderer, but you definitely are a killer. That's for sure. And her boyfriend told you if you proceed forward, you're going to kill her, and you did. Mind you guys, it was all caught on video and the jury did see it, but to only give that woman a 9-month prison sentence, who did she know? I'm imagining that she had no kind of criminal record. And yes, Miss Rodriguez was upset. You would be upset too if your daughter was hacked to death. Yeah, you would be upset too. You always put yourselves in the position of others, and so many people nowadays fail to do so. Am I the only one that does that? Am I the only one? Put yourself in other people's shoes. Rest in peace to both Evelyn and Kayla. All right, guys, I am out of here. I'm leaving Long Island. I'm heading back to Jersey. I will see you on the next video, guys. Be good, y'all. Always put yourself in the position of others to prevent tragedies such as this. All right, peace out.